I clutched the engraved invitation so tightly the edges bit into my palms. Gold foil, hand calligraphed, the kind of excess that screamed, Hart family. Victoria's engagement party at our Hamptons estate. A celebration of her perfect life, her perfect fiancé, her perfect everything. But the handwritten note tucked inside wasn't an afterthought. It was a blade. Evelyn, use the service entrance. Let's not disrupt the evening with your situation. My hands didn't tremble from nerves. They shook with rage. 3 years ago, I walked away from Yale Law, from their suffocating expectations, to build something they couldn't touch. Eclipse. My empire. A global nightlife juggernaut worth billions, catering to A-list celebrities, tech moguls, even royalty. They didn't know. To them, I was still the family failure, the dropout running a dingy bar, and tonight Victoria wanted me to slink in through the back door like hired help. I pulled my black Porsche into the estate's winding drive, the ocean air sharp through the open window. The main entrance glowed, chandeliers spilling light onto valets in crisp tuxedos. I ignored it, following the note's instructions to the rear gate. A security guard stood there, arms crossed, his smirk as deliberate as the floodlight blinding me. Name, he drawled, knowing damn well who I was. Evelyn Hart. My voice was steel. He checked his tablet, taking his time. Family assistants go through the staff gate. New rule. His eyes flicked up, daring me to argue. Before I could fire back, Victoria appeared, her emerald gown catching the light like she'd planned the moment. Her lips curved, not a smile but a weapon. Oh, Evelyn, you wouldn't want to embarrass us, would you? Not tonight. She tilted her head, her diamond earrings glinting. Stick to what you're good at. My pulse hammered. I could have told her right then, spilled the truth about Eclipse, about the 10,000 elites begging for a membership she'd never get. I could have watched her face collapse as she realized Thomas's father, her precious fiancé's lawyer dad, had been groveling for my approval for months. But I didn't. Not yet. They'd built this stage. I'd let them perform a little longer. The Hamptons estate hadn't changed since I was a kid. Marble floors, vaulted ceilings, the kind of old money that whispered power. But tonight, it felt like a cage. Guests in black tie mingled, their laughter sharp as glass. I'd slipped in through the service entrance, not because I agreed with Victoria, but because I wanted to see how far they'd push. The answer came quickly. Aunt Charlotte spotted me first, her pearl necklace gleaming like armor. Evelyn, darling, be a dear and help with the coats. You're practically staff anyway. Her smile was venom, her voice loud enough to turn heads. A few guests chuckled, their eyes raking over my tailored black dress, searching for the failure they'd been told to expect. I bit my tongue, tasting blood. 3 years ago, I'd have crumbled, but now, each jab was fuel. Eclipse wasn't just a club, it was a fortress. From New York to Dubai to Tokyo, my name was a whisper among the world's elite. Anonymity was my shield, keeping the hearts blissfully ignorant while I built an empire bigger than their real estate portfolios. And Rose, my grandmother, the only one who'd ever believed in me, had lit the spark. She'd funded my first club, mentored me in secret, her real estate fortune dwarfing the family's petty wealth. Let them underestimate you, she'd said. It's their funeral. Victoria's voice cut through the crowd. Evelyn, ice. Now. She stood by the bar, Thomas at her side, his Rolex catching the light. 200 guests watched, their murmurs a low hum. My parents were there too, somewhere in the haze, their silence louder than any insult. They hadn't spoken to me since I left Yale, their cold stares a reminder of the disgrace I'd become. I stepped forward, my heels clicking on the marble. I'm here as a guest, Victoria, not a servant. The room stilled. Her eyes widened, then narrowed. You're lying, she hissed, loud enough for the front row to hear. You don't belong here. That's when I saw it, the crack in her armor. She didn't know about Eclipse, but she sensed something. I leaned in, voice low. Ask Thomas's father about his membership application or why he's blacklisted. Her face froze. Whispers spread like wildfire. Thomas shifted, his jaw tight, but I was already moving, brushing past them toward the terrace. Outside, the ocean roared, and Rose found me, her silver hair catching the moonlight. They don't know your empire's bigger than theirs, she whispered. Let them dig their own graves. The party was a chessboard, and I was playing 3 moves ahead. Victoria's catering staff had bailed, some last-minute mix-up. I'd already called in a favor, hiring New York's top service as my engagement gift. When they arrived, Victoria's jaw dropped, her power play crumbling. She couldn't belittle me now, not when I'd saved her night. But the hearts weren't done. Uncle Richard cornered me later, his whiskey breath hot. Apologize for that stunt, or I'll destroy your little bar. He loomed, expecting me to fold. I smiled. Check your firm's client list, Richard. You work for me. His face went slack. Eclipse shell companies were his biggest accounts, and he hadn't even known. Then the reporter crashed the party, a tabloid vulture tipped off by Charlotte. Is it true Eclipse's owner is here? He demanded, recorder thrust in my face. I deflected, all charm, but my heart raced. The close call lit a fire. I wasn't ready to reveal myself, not yet. But the clock was ticking. My phone buzzed. Tokyo investors, threatening to pull out unless I flew there tonight. I glanced at Victoria, still fuming by the bar, and made my choice. I strode toward the front door, the one she'd forbidden me to use. Guests parted, their eyes on me. Victoria's voice rang out, Evelyn, where do you think you're going? But I didn't stop. The door swung open and I stepped into the night, my empire waiting. The game had changed. Victoria's social media post hit an hour later, claiming she'd host her wedding at Eclipse. She thought I was too weak to refuse. I shut it down publicly, my denial trending by morning. The hearts were scrambling now, their analytics pinging my private dashboard as they hunted for Eclipse's owner. Charlotte's TV blunder sealed it. She bragged about her membership, only for my PR team to torture with a denial. The world was watching, and the hearts were unraveling. But danger was closing in. A rival club owner, tipped off by Tomas, hacked Eclipse's reservation system, leaking fake scandals to tabloids. A-list members were spooked, and I was on damage control. Then came the ambush in Tokyo. Thugs sent by a heart ally, their knives glinting in the alley. I escaped, but the message was clear. My family, or their friends, wanted me gone. Uncle Richard's lawsuit hit next, claiming I'd embezzled family funds for Eclipse. A lie, but a clever one. It could force me to reveal my ownership. A disgruntled employee, bribed by Charlotte, threatened to leak my identity to the press. I negotiated, barely keeping her quiet. And then the fire at Eclipse's Dubai Club, days before its opening. Arson, I was sure, tied to Thomas's father. Marcus, my best friend and COO, begged me to cut the hearts loose. They're poison, Ev. Walk away. But I couldn't. They were family, and I'd make them see me, not the dropout, not the disgrace, but the woman who'd outbuilt them all. Rose's words echoed, let them dig their own graves. I was ready to hand them the shovel. The air in my Eclipse office was sharp with the scent of leather and ambition. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed Manhattan's skyline, a glittering reminder of what I'd built. My phone buzzed. Uncle Richard's lawsuit papers, now a crumpled relic on my desk. His own firm, my legal counsel, had refused to pursue it, citing conflicts of interest. They didn't dare bite the hand that fed them. Eclipse wasn't just a club, it was a machine, and I was its architect. Richard's defeat was the first crack in the Hart family's crumbling facade, but I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. My parents called next, their voicemail dripping with rehearsed sincerity. "Evelyn, let's meet at your establishment. We want to reconcile." I laughed, cold and sharp. Reconcile? After they disowned me? Called me a disgrace for leaving Yale? I texted back, "Service entrance 8 p.m. Bring ID." Let them taste the humiliation they'd fed me for years. Victoria's call came an hour later, her voice a venomous hiss. "You're ruining my engagement, Evelyn. Thomas's father is a laughingstock because of your stupid club." I leaned back in my chair, the city sprawling below. "The back door's open for staff applications, Vic. You'd look great in an apron." Her scream cut off as I hung up. She thought this was personal. It wasn't. It was justice. Rose's private dinner was a sanctuary, a penthouse overlooking Central Park. She raised a glass of vintage Bordeaux, her eyes gleaming. "To your billion-dollar revenge, Evelyn." The news was spreading. Headlines whispering of the Harts' disgrace, their social stock plummeting, Richard's firm was bleeding clients, Charlotte was dodging paparazzi, and Victoria's wedding plans were unraveling. Rose clinked her glass against mine. "They thought you were the weak link. Now they're choking on their own lies." But the real storm was brewing. I'd been planning it for weeks, a media bombshell timed to detonate with Victoria's wedding announcement. The press release was ready. Evelyn Hart, the anonymous mastermind behind Eclipse, steps into the light. Society pages would erupt, headlines screaming, "Backdoor to billionaire. Evelyn Hart's revenge on her snobbish family." I could already see Victoria's face, her country club wedding drowned in whispers of my triumph. The Harts didn't know what was coming, but they sensed it. Charlotte had resigned from her charity boards, her public humiliation complete after my PR team's brutal denial of her membership. Richard faced backlash from his partners, who now realized their biggest client, me, had been under their noses. And my parents? They sent a groveling letter, begging for forgiveness. I tore it up, their words as empty as their hearts. The night of Victoria's wedding announcement, I stood in Eclipse's main lounge, the pulse of the music syncing with my heartbeat. Leonardo DiCaprio nodded from a corner booth, Beyoncé's laugh cutting through the crowd. This was my world, and I'd earned every inch. I walked through the front entrance, the one the Harts had barred me from, my heels echoing like a war drum. The press release went live at midnight, a digital guillotine. By morning, the world knew I was Eclipse. The fallout was glorious. Victoria's wedding, planned at the Harts' precious country club, was overshadowed by my reveal. Guests whispered about Eclipse's refusal to host, about Thomas's father losing clients who mocked his blacklist. He called me, voice trembling, begging for mercy. "Evelyn, please reinstate me. I'll do anything." I let the silence stretch, then said, "You're not worth my time." Click. The Harts were in freefall. Charlotte's fake tax fraud document surfaced, a desperate blackmail attempt. I had my team trace it, exposing her forgery to the press. She crumbled, her socialite status in tatters. My parents sent a lawyer with a reconciliation offer, but I returned their old disownment letter, untouched. They'd made their choice. Now they'd live with it. Eclipse was expanding. London, Tokyo, Dubai, Singapore. Each club had stricter membership rules, a no Harts policy etched in stone. I built the newest location right next to Victoria's Country Club, a gleaming taunt to their second-tier status. She texted me, desperate. "Everyone asks about you. Stop this." My reply was simple. "Service entrance is still open." Rose gifted me her real estate portfolio that week, her voice fierce. "Build bigger, Evelyn. They'll never catch up." I named Marcus co-CEO, his loyalty my anchor as Eclipse eyed a $10 billion, 0 cents valuation. The press dubbed me the backdoor queen, my story a beacon for anyone who'd been underestimated. The Harts? Blacklisted from every elite circle, their legacy a cautionary tale. But danger lingered. Someone inside Eclipse was leaking secrets to the Hearts. A trusted employee? Marcus swore it wasn't him, but the doubt gnawed. Rose hinted at a past scandal, something that could bury the Hearts for good. Be careful what you dig for, she warned. What was she hiding? And Tokyo? The deal hinged on a mysterious investor demanding my personal involvement. Their emails were cryptic, their motives unclear. Thomas's bribery attempts had escalated to threats. Late-night calls, blocked numbers, a voice whispering, "You'll regret this." Was he desperate enough to cross that line? And then the Dubai fire. My top architect vanished for hours, a note left behind. Stay out of our city. He was shaken but unharmed, but the message was clear. Someone wanted me out. The final twist came at Victoria's wedding. I didn't attend. Why would I? But I sent a gift. A gold-plated service entrance key, engraved with "Know Your Place." The guests buzzed, the gesture trending online. Victoria's perfect day was mine now, her humiliation complete. Alone in my office, I raised a glass to the skyline. Eclipse was my heart, my defiance, my proof. I'd never let family define me again. But as I sipped, my phone lit up. A new rival club backed by a Heart ally was launching, poaching my staff, spreading lies about my leadership. Their logo was a snake, coiled and ready to strike. I smiled, the challenge igniting something fierce. Let them come. I'd built an empire from nothing. I was ready for the fight. Rose's confession lingered, though. She'd pulled me aside before the dinner, her voice low. "The Hearts stole my fortune, Evelyn. That's why they hate you. You're my legacy, not theirs." The truth hit like a blade. Every insult, every backdoor, every betrayal. It wasn't just pride. It was guilt. They'd built their world on her ruin, and I was the reckoning. The threads of curiosity were tightening. Who was the traitor in Eclipse? The leaks were too precise, too personal. Rose's scandal, what could destroy a family already in ruins? The Tokyo investors' demands grew stranger, their latest email mentioning a shared history. I didn't understand. Thomas's threats were no longer just words. A car followed me last night, its headlights too close. An Eclipse secret project, the one I'd kept even from Marcus, was nearing completion. A global network, redefining nightlife. With tech so advanced, it scared me. If it leaked, it could change everything. I stood at my window, the city pulsing below. The Hearts thought they'd broken me, but they'd forged me instead. Every service entrance, every sneer, every betrayal had built this moment. I was Evelyn Hart, the backdoor queen, and my empire was just beginning. Let the snakes slither. I'd crush them all. I leaned back in my chair, the Manhattan skyline sprawling before me like a canvas of my own making. The glass in my hand caught the light, its amber glow a quiet toast to everything I'd clawed from the ashes of the Hart family's scorn. They were ghosts now, their once mighty name reduced to whispers of failure, their social empire crumbling under the weight of their own cruelty. Eclipse, my creation, stood as a towering rebuke, a global monument to the underestimated, the outcasts, the dreamers who refused to kneel. From New York to Tokyo, Dubai to London, its pulse thrummed with the energy of those who dared to build their own worlds. But the fight wasn't over. A new rival, a snake coiled in the shadows, was rising, backed by the last dregs of Heart allies desperate to topple me. Their lies were spreading, their poached staff whispering doubts, their logo a taunt that promised war. I smiled, the challenge igniting a fire in my chest. They thought they could scare me, break me, drag me back to the service entrance. They didn't know I'd forged my heart in that humiliation, tempered it with every sneer, every betrayal. I was Evelyn Hart, the backdoor queen, and no one would dim my light. Rose's words echoed, her gift of a real estate empire now mine to wield. "Build bigger," she'd said, her eyes fierce with pride. And I would. Eclipse's secret project, the one even Marcus didn't fully grasp, was weeks from launch. A global network that would redefine nightlife, fuse technology and exclusivity in ways the world had never seen. If it succeeded, it would cement my legacy. If it leaked, it could spark chaos. The traitor inside Eclipse was still out there, their leaks too precise, too personal. Rose's hinted scandal, the Tokyo investors' cryptic demands, Thomas's escalating threats. They were threads in a web I'd yet to unravel. But I'd faced worse. I'd built an empire from nothing, turned their rejection into rocket fuel. Let the snakes come. I'd crush them with the same hands that carved my name into the stars. I stood, my reflection sharp in the window. This wasn't the end. It was the ember of a war I was born to win. Every service entrance they'd forced me through, every cold stare from my parents, every taunt from Victoria had forged a woman they couldn't fathom. I was done proving myself to them. Now, I'd prove it to the world. The night was mine, its pulse my heartbeat, its shadows my playground. I'd keep building, keep fighting, keep rising, until no door, service or otherwise, could ever hold me back. The story wasn't over.